Good morning, everyone. This is Professor Dan, and we are going to do the CAD Assembly workshop. So we're going to break this up into about four videos. We're going to do our first part today and kind of our intro today. Then we'll do our second part, then we'll do our assembly, and then we'll do our drawing. So here we go. Make sure you have a mouse and an OnShape account. One thing about that OnShape account is to make sure you sign up for an EDU account. So we have an EDU plan for students. So if you do OnShape EDU, make sure you sign up for that. You get a lot of extra bonuses. So make sure you upgrade your account if you haven't already. So now we're going to share our screen. All right, so make sure you have a mouse, make sure you have your OnShape account, and yeah, we're going to assemble some stuff. So what we're going to do today is we're going to make this part in our first video, the yellow part, the green part in our next video. Oh. The green part in our next video. We're going to put them together in our third video, and we're going to do a drawing in our fourth video. So we use OnShape. When you know how to CAD, you know how to CAD. The tools, the shortcuts, and all that change. You know, what you actually click on changes, but the fundamental principles are the same, whether you're using SolidWorks, OnShape, or Inventor. And again, when we CAD, the first thing we usually do is draw a sketch. Then we extrude the sketch. You know, think of it like Play-Doh. And yeah, and then we have our parts. And again, you can do this in a variety of different ways. You know, when I was doing this workshop originally, I built it differently than the ITLO workshop. And actually, going through the ITLO workshop, I learned some things. And so I just thought about it differently. But there's a lot of different ways to CAD parts. And when you're CADing parts on your own, you can choose the way that works best for you. Everybody should be familiar with these parts if you did the CAD workshop here at the University of Colorado Boulder. So where we're going to use our toolbar. We're going to learn some new tools like the hole tools. We're going to learn, you know, some of these mates, the variables. We're going to learn linear patterns and how to convert entities. Then we're going to make assemblies and, yeah, convert it into drawings. So one thing to keep in mind as we make assemblies, there's a joke. It works in CAD. Haha. Yeah, that's creepy. And what that means is, yeah, a lot of times stuff works in CAD, but when we actually build it, it doesn't work. So we're going to keep that in mind as we're building our assemblies today, so we can draw them up so that it works not just in CAD, but also when we actually try to build it. So today, we need someone who's patient. I need you to be patient because I have minimal CAD experience. So I have some experience, but OnShape and I have taken a little sabbatical, and so it's been a year or two since I've used this. So yeah, stick with me as I go through it. All right. So the part we're going to try to make is this one here. Yeah, so how would we make that? What would we do? And so we're going to start with the yellow piece. We're actually going to flip it over. And so we're going to make it kind of inverted from what we see here. And then we'll make a drawing, or then we'll make the green piece, and we'll put them together, and then we'll make this drawing because that's how we would share it with a machine shop. Another quick thing, there's a lot of cool tools to use. One's Maker Case, and that is if you're making a box, you should 3D or laser cut it. 3D printing boxes is not ideal. And there's this tool called Gear Generator, which is really useful because making gears is often difficult. But as we get better and better at CAD, we can use other people's CADs, import it, and then make our assemblies in a way that, yeah, is more time efficient. We can stand on the shoulders of others. But for today, we're going to work on making parts again. Yeah, no feedback. Or put your feedbacks in the comments, I guess. So here we go. I'm going to stop that share. We're going to share my other screen here. So we're going to go along the way, and we're going to make some mistakes as we go. All right, here we go. We're recording. You can see I've been playing around with this. And so, yeah, we're going to create a new one, a new document. So call that CAD2 part CAD2 part. All right. And according to Mo, we're going to start with our top plane. So when we fire up OnShape, we have this little diagram here, or this little area workspace. And so we can see we can choose a plane with which to draw on. It's often important to choose what plane, but in this case, we're just going to choose that top plane. So click on the top plane, and then click Sketch. All right, and the first thing that we're going to sketch is just a rectangle, a 1x1 rectangle. So we'll click on it, and I want to use a center point rectangle so we can stay symmetric about this origin. Click. There we go. And if I want to get rid of the front and right, so I don't have to see them, I can hide front, I can hide right. There we go. And I'm rotating around like this using my right mouse button, but I'm going to go and just click on the top because I like a good orthogonal view. And now I'm going to click, and I'm going to dimension these. Call that 1 inch, enter. And then we'll do 1 inch here, enter. Excellent. There we go. We have our 1x1 rectangle. All right, our next step is to extrude this rectangle. So how do we do that? Well, we want to extrude it. That's this command right here. Just make sure I'm sharing the same thing. Share, screen 1, screen 2, screen 1. There we go. All right. All right, so now we're going to click extrude. One of the nice things we can do is do a symmetric extrude, and that means we have the same amount going up to the top and to the bottom. And right now we're not actually extruding anything. We have a depth of 1, but oh, it looks we have to select faces and sketch regions. So I'll select those. There we go. All right, so now we have our first cube. Sweet. Now on top of the cube, what we'll want to do is make a cylinder region. We want to have a cylinder added to both the left and right side and a cylinder subtracted from the middle. How do you do that? Now there's a variety of different ways. You can draw a half cylinder and extrude it in this direction. But the way that I thought about it and the way that they walk through in the workshop is to actually just draw some rectangles and revolve those rectangles. So let's do that. So we have a good extrude 1. I'm going to click sketch, and on top here, my sketch plane is going to be the top face. So I'm going to click on that. And before I do anything more, I want to kind of give myself some boundaries. So I don't want the boundaries to be revolved or anything like that. So I'm going to make them this thing called construction. Construction is just there to help us. So I click construction, and then I want the 2 dimensions of this face to be on my new sketch. So that is that use project convert. So this projects what is on this face onto my new sketch. So I'm going to click that, and then I'm going to click the face, and you can see now I have a sketch of a rectangle, or a square, because it's 1x1 rectangle, from that face. Cool. Now I want to turn off my construction, because now let's just get orthogonal. And so now I want to draw some rectangles on this thing. All right. So how do I do that? Well, now let's not use center point rectangles. Let's use corner rectangles. Here's our first one. And I'm just going to throw a quick dimension on there just to keep me safe. That's 0.3. Let's just call it 0.3. Okay. So there's that. Now what I want to do is use this linear pattern to draw 3 of these things. So click on linear pattern. Ooh, there's our first one. Good. Ooh, there's our second one. But we have a problem clicking on our third one. And that's because we have this construction line. So right click, do select other, and now click on the edge. Yeah, there we go. Click on the other edge. Now we're going to right click, click select other, and do the same thing, because we don't want to click on our construction line. We want to click on our rectangle. Oh, I don't want that. Control Z. Oops. Got to try it again. All right, here we go. linear pattern. I want that one. I want that one. I right click to select other. Make sure it's the right thing highlighted. Right click to select other. Make sure it's the right thing highlighted. Sweet. And then to accept it, you can see my mouse has a right check on the left mouse button. We're going to do that. There we go. So now I don't want this rectangle on the edge here. I want it next to my first rectangle. So the first thing I have to do is delete this one. Delete sketch entity. And now I can move this over to here. Boom. Done. Okay. So it's not perfect, but stay with me. We'll make it perfect. Okay. So now the next thing we want to do is introduce this thing called a variable. So I had a bunch of things that are either 1 inch, or related to 1 inch. What I can do is create a variable. That's this little x thing, you know, x variable. There we go. So I'm going to call this the width, and I'm going to make it 1 inch. There we go. And so now I'm going to use that. I'm going to go to sketch 1. I'm going to show that. And I want to edit sketch 1. So I'll double click into that. And I'm going to type in width. And the way we do that is hashtag width. Width. And it says it's not valid because we don't define width until after sketch 1. So I'm going to check out at sketch 1. And we can move width up to the top. And now in sketch 1, when I double click in, and I change that 1 to width, it should work out perfectly. Hashtag width. And it tells me the value is 1, but when I double click in, it says hashtag width. I do hashtag width. Same thing. Cool. And then when I extrude, I want my depth to be hashtag width. Here we go. And now for my sketch 2, I can do, instead of 0.3, I can do hashtag width divided by 3. And it fits perfectly. So now a little subtle thing on, let me just make sure I'm sharing the right screen. Share the correct screen. And so now we want to make our cylinders. So our first cylinders that we want to make, we're going to make them and we're going to add to our cube here. So how do we make them? Well, we revolve. So we click on our revolve here up at the top. Revolve. You see where I'm clicking? And now it says select my face. I want to select that face. I want to select the right face. Now I want to select the revolve axis to be this middle area. Full revolve, yeah. Oh, gives me a little preview. Yeah, that looks good. Cool. So that's our revolve 1. Nothing to it. So now the only thing is make sure you can select that middle revolve axis. And if not, right click, do select other. So now we got to take some pieces out of the middle. So we do the same thing, revolve, except we remove. And what we're going to choose here, our sketch 2 got hidden. So I'm going to show sketch 2. I want the face of sketch 2 revolved around the edge of sketch 2. Sorry, everybody. There we go. And you can see it's taking pieces out. There we go. All right, should be good so far. So now we have our part. We're looking good. Okay. So now the next thing we need to do is draw our hole. Okay. So let's draw a hole. So now we go around and we want our hole to be right here, right on that point. So what we need to do is put a point there. And so, yeah, let's make another sketch. So let's see if I click that. Yeah, there we go. So I can use this cube to help me pick points. And so I do a sketch. I want my sketch plane to be on this left side here. And I do want to do another convert entities, but again, I want to give myself some construction lines. I don't want this to be something that just revolves or anything like that. I just want to use it to help me draw a sketch. So I'm going to click on that. There we go, construction line, dash line, good to go. And now I want to put a point right there in the middle. So I come up here to point, done. All right, so now I have a point there, I can make a hole. All right, and what type of hole, you probably are asking? The hole, as defined, is a ANSI tapped. So I'm going to go to my hole maker, which is this right here, hole. I click on that point I just made. Oh, it makes a little hole. So I want an ANSI tapped 1/4 inch, 20 TPI with 75% diametric enlargement. And it tells me it's 0.201 diameter. There we go. That's it. That's our part. Cool. I click check, and looks like we have a part. Oh, one thing that was snuck by me is that at some point in time, the ITLP people, you can see my part looks a little different than what's in the PowerPoint here. So you can see, look how small their hole looks versus my hole here, which looks a lot bigger. And that's because they changed the width to 1 inch. And watch, we can change the variable to 2, and it will automatically propagate all throughout. Ah, there we go, look at that. And now our parts look similar. Our first part is done. All right, so that's it for this. We will join back together for part 2. All right, everybody, hopefully that went pretty well. We'll talk to you later.